You know, Reggie? Good.
Wait, did you?
Dr. William T. Mack.
Okay.
M-A-C-K.
What time is it?
No, Tampa. Tampa, just two blocks south of Kennedy, away
Because I've been up there, folks, and another guy.
Let us pray. Precious Jesus, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this group and the brotherhood that it brings us to. We thank you especially for the food that's been provided today. We pray all these things in your name. Amen.
Down.
Yes, if the guests would like to lead off, we'd appreciate that.
Over here, go there. Go there and get yourself. Okay. Go get some chow. Chow's down.
You work my mind. I know I'm not smart. No running. I ask you to wait now. You get me do a sheet one and done a sheet.
Let's see,
Go ahead and grab the plate. There you go. Oh, we got cookies.
You want some chips? Dad.
Dad, do you want some chips?
Do you want anything in here? Some Doritos or fun?
Everyone, listen up.
Why they want to spend a lot of this
It's an electrical problem.
All rise. No, report that. No.
We dedicate this meeting to our brothers still on internal patrol, to appreciate the memory of our shipmates who gave their lives in the pursuit of their duties while serving their country. That their dedication, deed, and serene sacrifice may be a constant source of motivation toward greater accomplishment, and to pledge loyalty and patriotism to the United States of America and its Constitution.
Moment of silence. To do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Another clue, ask all of it. If you're a veteran, you just salute the flags that cover you, whether in uniform or not. You just salute, well, as recently.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our meeting today. We're delighted to have such a good turnout. Certainly we got the weather for it, I believe. A little on the warm side, and the humidity is up, but we'll get past that. You're in Florida, so if you don't like the weather, just wait a couple minutes. I'd like to welcome new members. Ray Gertman, sitting right over here, surrounded by these lovely ladies. Standing with Ray is his wife, Patricia, daughter Kimberly, and daughter
Tammy.
Tammy. We got it down, but didn't have it up there. Also, I'd like to recognize a new member that just signed up today, John Schelt. In the good of the order, John will be doing a sea story for us. Did you have something?
I was wondering if we were gonna have 5 sea stories.
5 sea stories? Oh, no. We might, time permitting. Okay, I'd like to recognize the past commanders who are with us today. These are important gentlemen who have paved the way and got us to where we are today. Dave Harris. Al Almack. Tom Donan. Immediate past commander John Raines. Tang-based member and past commander of the LA Pasadena base, Michael Caller.
All right. There's a point of no return where ships may ride at anchor for a little space, and then some starlit night, the cable slips, leaving only an eddy at the mooring place. Gulls bear no longer, sailor rest your oar, no tangled wreckage will be washed ashore. Lord, our departed shipmates with dolphins on the chest are part of an outfit known as the best. You'll find without a doubt they were the best in all the land. Let them know that we who survive will always keep their memory alive.
USS F4, the Skate, SS-23, 325-15. USS H-1, the Seawolf, SS-28, 312-20. USS Perch, SS-176, 3342. USS Grampus, SS-207, 3543. The USS Triton, SS-201, 31543. USS Tullabee, SS-284, 32644. USS Keat, SS-369, 32045. And finally, the USS Trigger, SS-237, 32845.
Tell the bell one more time for those still on eternal patrol. Please be seated.
We're having a report on activities in upcoming April. We're having a memorial service out at Veterans Park in Hillsborough County. What time is that going to be?
That one's going to start at 10 o'clock. Normally we start at 11, but the activity out there is, leadership has asked us to start at 10. So you'll need to get there 9:30 so you can get seated and help out, have some coffee and whatever. For the thing. And we're going to have to start at 10. Guest speaker is going to be Keith Post, retired submarine technician, sonar technician, senior chief, who is also the curator of the St. Mary's Submarine Museum in Kings Bay, Georgia. St. Mary's, Georgia.
Then May, we're going to have our semi-annual picnic out at Redington Shores.
Yep. Catered.
We catered again. Then we want to thank Al for today's lunch. I thought that was a really good thing. Last call for QVC and raffle tickets. Al's got them over here.
This is a very special occasion for all submarine veterans. We take this opportunity to show our appreciation and to recognize several of our shipmates by inducting them into the prestigious USSVI Holland Club. The Holland Club is named after John P. Holland, designer of the first U.S. Navy submarine. It is an exclusive club within the U.S. Submarine Veterans Organization, where the core requirement for eligibility is the designation qualified in submarines for a minimum of 50 years. Today, we recognize these sub-vets for all of their contributions to and support of the submarine force, and to say to them, well done, shipmate. Thank you for your splendid and devoted service. These submariners are justifiably proud of their accomplishments. They represent the living historical memory of our rich submarine heritage. We would not be where we are today in submarines without them. They are the pioneers who led the way and set the standards for excellence for the submarines in our submarine fleet today. When these men qualified, diesel-powered submarines were state-of-the-art. Some have earned their dolphins during World War II and the Korean War, still others during Vietnam and the Cold War period. Many of those they served with have departed on their final and eternal patrol. They saw the war-winning diesel submarines go through radical conversion into many specialized and exotic designs. They witnessed and in many cases participated in the development and testing of the highly successful guppy snorkel conversions. Some went on later to serve in nuclear attack and ballistic missile submarines. When we meet a Holland Club member, we are in the presence of the institutional memory of the United States Submarine Force. They, along with their brothers of the Dolphin, are the historical connection and inspiration for the submariner of the future. There are no ex-submariners. Submarine qualification passes a man into a mystic brotherhood of undersea warriors, and it marks him forever as one of a special breed. Although they no longer sail beneath the seas, they still wear their dolphins with honor and pride. These shipmates and those who have gone before served our nation extremely well. They have justifiably earned the honor and respect we show them today. We, indeed, are honored by their presence, and we look forward to the day when we too may qualify for membership in their special group. Before we induct them, I'd like to ask all those who are currently Holland Club members to stand and be recognized. Thank you. Be seated. We're going to do things just a little bit different today than we normally do because of the volume. I'm going to call up the individual inductees one at a time. Those with family members, please come up and join them too. Secretary Bill Strand. Our Vice Commander Ken Bertner will read one of the national certificates and present it, and then Bill Strand will read the base certificate and present it. Michael Ferranti, please join us. Michael served from 1970 to 1990.
U.S. Submarine Veterans Holland Club membership presented to Michael Ferranti. Whereas having been designated qualified in submarines for more than 50 years and a member of the U.S. Submarine Veteran in good standing, U.S. Submarine Veterans is extremely proud to bestow upon you membership in the Holland Club. Your induction into the Holland Club is testimony of your years of honorable and faithful service to the U.S. Navy and the submarine force. Granted this 11th day of April 2022. Qualified in submarines in 1972, USS Sea Dragon.
Michael Ferranti, welcome aboard, shipmate. I am pleased to present you a Holland Club certificate patch, coin, and membership card presented on this special occasion in recognition of your 50 years of submarine qualification and service to your country. National Commander Wayne Strandifer, Holland Club Chairman Bud Atkins, and your shipmates take great pleasure and welcome you as a member of the Holland Club.
Eugene Ray Gertman.
We're not reading these.
Ray served from 1962 to 1967.
Thank you.
Here is your membership card,
Thank you.
a challenge coin.
Thank you.
It says 50 on there, but I wouldn't take it to Las Vegas. And there's your plate. I mean, your deck.
Thank you.
Right, they just sit right up, stand right over there. Immediate past commander John Raines.
John, can you look at me?
You don't want to go with it? Congratulations, John.
I heard about this board some 20 years ago. This is very special for me.
Dennis Zapay. Dennis served from 1968 to 1975.
Welcome aboard, Dennis. You go over here, but I can't get to your face. Take a picture.
Here's your card.
Right.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thanks for making the drive down. Can we get just some photo opportunities? Everybody get to the group. All right, we get the group.
Okay.
And you notice that the two of us here are qualified skate class.
Okay. Gentlemen, take your seats. Ladies, thank you very much. Michael Ferrante, please stay up. For those of you who don't know, Mike has been secretary, treasurer, not treasurer, but newsletter editor, then just newsletter editor. Mike is leaving us, and he and his wife Kelly are going down south to enjoy some retirement. Tang Base Commander's Letter of Commendation. I wish to commend and thank Michael W. Ferrante for his outstanding support and dedicated service to Tang Base of the United States Submarine Veterans Incorporated. When Michael joined Tang Base in August of 2017, his arrival was consistent with our then secretary and newsletter editor's need to resign from those positions due to severe medical issues. In February of 2018, Mike volunteered to take over both positions to maintain continuity in those roles vital to the operation of Tang Base. His hard-charging, can-do attitude resulted in a highly successful turnover and acceptance of his new positions. Using his keen skills and adept knowledge of the computer programs needed for the newsletter, Mike was able to take a very successful newsletter and mold it into his vision of an outstanding and very informative newsletter to include photographs and important written inputs from numerous sources. In December 2020, due to some medical issues of his own, Mike had to take a step back and hand off the secretary position to another Tang-based member while retaining the newsletter editor position. As a valuable member of the Tang-based leadership team, Michael has provided sound, logical, and common sense input on numerous issues facing Tang Base. His no-nonsense approach, combined with his vast experience in working with people, has helped Tang Base leadership make sound and viable decisions. Michael and Kelly now depart for health and retirement in another area. Tang Base wishes you and your family fair winds and following seas.
I'm not going to vote, John.
Okay, we're going to continue now with our normal meeting process. begin by asking that the minutes of the last meeting be accepted and published in the newsletter. Do I hear a motion to that?
Motion.
Second? Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Now we'll call on reports. Secretary. Anything to report?
No report at this time.
Okey-doke. Treasurer, I think you've got several months to report.
I do. That we did in November, we got one from St. Mary's Museum. If anybody wants to read it, it's up here. And we also got one from National Holland Club for appreciation for the donation that we give to them every year. And if you want to read that, it's up here as well.
The storage unit is very important because that's where, in addition to some materials we store, but mostly that's where we store our model submarine. And that needs to be in a climate-controlled environment, not left out in the yard someplace. So if anybody knows of any place that could meet the same requirements and be a lot less expensive, please let us know. The other part of that is we're always open to accept donations to the base. You can tell us how you want that money to be spent, or you can just simply donate it to the base and let us put it where we think it needs to be.
Question,
Yes, sir.
how long is the model? How long of a storage unit?
I've been telling it's about 15 units. I don't recall the actual dimensions of the storage unit. It does fit in there.
It'll fit in a one-car garage?
It'll fit in the one-car garage.
Okay.
I think the model is 15 foot, and then you've got some of the tongues sticking
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, that's what I've been telling them when we register for the parades. I tell them it's a 15-foot being pulled by a pickup. So, any other questions on that?
Where's the location that you'd like to have it?
Well, somewhere near here, okay? The furthest we go away is the Veterans Park over off of 301, Hillsborough County Veterans Park. That's the furthest. We have a parade here, and we have a parade over in Kenneth City that we participate in.
And the two picnics.
And the two picnics, of course, which are right down off of the Reddington shores. So, any other questions on that? We can expect, I think, probably at least two more increases in rental fees for the storage unit.
And if anybody thinks, wow, that's pretty expensive, we had it in a non-climate controlled space for many, many years, and it cost thousands of dollars to fix. So if you've seen the model, you know how beautiful it is. It wasn't so beautiful 7, 8 years ago because it wasn't properly cared for.
Okey-doke. Chief the boat, our regular chief the boat, Ed Gowrich, is out sick today, and can't feel nothing there. Okay. Librarian, not here. Historian.
I still haven't gotten a chance to taste those brownies you've told us about before, Al. I'd like to know when that's going to happen. Another thing is that if you remember in the memorial this morning, you mentioned F4. It was one of the submarines of the F-class boat that were built just before World War I. I've talked about this boat before. The class, the batteries on the boat, or on all 4 boats of that class, had no top on it. It was open sulfuric acid in the batteries. And F4, they finally came to realize that one of the cells of the battery cracked and drained sulfuric acid into the bilge of the boat. Yes, sir.
The F4 was Escape, right?
Skate was a name that they gave to it later.
Later, yeah.
Sulfuric leaking in onto the pressure hull, ate a hole in the hull. All 4 boats were based in Pearl Harbor at the time. They didn't have a sub base there at that time, so they were based at a normal pier. And the F4 was out operating with F3 one day, running an attack and target for several destroyers. And the F3 saw the periscope of the F4 go by. That was the last contact they had with it. It was lost for years, and they finally recovered it 20, 30 years later. That's the end of the F4.
Thank you, sir.
And March 28th, 45, my dad was commanding officer of USS Trigger. So for me, March is Trigger Month, and I wear the hat in his honor. Also, after the war, my mom met the 4 surviving commanding officers at a ceremony, and one of them happened to be a bachelor, Roy Benson. A year later, they married, and he adopted me, and so I was brought up in a whole Navy family. Roy served for 40 years and retired in 1969. I was a spoiled admiral's brat. So just 2 stories, quick, is that I have the photograph, a lot of memorabilia that I've shared with the commander. One of them is of Pompano, which my dad served on with before the war and during the war in the first war patrols. And he also was there with Ralph Pleatman and Slade Cutter. And I wanted to share with you pictures that they had that was taken on Pompano. And they always said that, of course, Marines go to war with a lot of stuff on, 100 pounds or whatever. Submariners go to war in their skivvies.
Yes.
The second quick story is my stepdad, Roy Benson, was on board Trigger at the beginning of the war. His J.O. was Ned Beach. A lot of those stories ultimately were written nicely by Ned and compared on as well. Ned was also the first CO of the second Trigger in 1951. One of Roy's favorite stories was that he said our second or third patrol, we were given the fact that, well, the fact was that they were low in torpedoes out at the beginning of the war. And so he came in after a war patrol and they said, Roy, you're going to next go out and you're going to go lay mines. And that was a horrible situation. They actually had there's a show, what was it called, Submarine, that was like, that chronicled this. And Roy's proudly said, he said, you know, we laid that minefield off the coast of Japan, and immediately thereafter comes a freighter and a destroyer down the tubes, headed right for that minefield. And he laid off a ways, and he proudly said, I'm the only surviving guy that with this eye witnessed the sinking of a ship in the minefield I have laid. Well, sure enough, freighter comes down, hits the mine, explodes, and the destroyer comes around to say, trying to find the submarine that just torpedoed it. And he said that destroyer went back and forth through that minefield, and how that destroyer didn't get hit as well, they'll never know. And so off they went. So that's his favorite minefield story. Thank you.
Holland Club Chairman, your
Good
report.
afternoon, men and ladies. We have a total of 86 members, 2 World War II USSVI Life members, 54 Holland Club members, 12 secondary members, 5 associate USSVI members, and 3 Tang-based associate members. We also have awarded 4 packs of Holland Club certificates today. We had 4 members in our internal patrol for 2021 and 3 members for 2022. We had 2021, 3 new members, and 2021, 3021, we had 3 new members. 3022, we have 2 members. 13 members are up for longevity pins this year. And anyone seeking life membership in USSVI, come see me and we can go through the paperwork. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Question on that, the new members, does that include the one that just signed up today,
No,
John Shell?
that'll be next month.
Okay, good, and thank you very much, Rich.
Okay.
I know that Rich has tried to get some more longevity pins and stuff. National Storekeeper is running a little behind. He's having supply chain issues like the rest of the world, I guess. Storekeeper is not here today. John, did you have anything on the Storekeeper? Did you get any information?
Bill went to the hospital, he broke his hip about 5 weeks ago. He got home from the hospital yesterday. He's with a walker, and he's met next door, and whatever he needs, we're taking care of.
Good. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Also, Caps for Kids. John, anything new?
Absolutely nothing.
Yep.
No one wants to talk to us yet. Everyone's on the property. Everyone's out by the front door.
That has been- And we know that Shriners Hospital is closed, and they are putting clinics out in different places, so we won't be able to go back to Shriners, to that place. Maybe we'll be able to get into the clinic areas, and also St. Joe's Children's and All Children's Hospital.
I've checked with all 3 of those places. The hospitals just say, just don't come.
Yeah, well, same way with Jerry Dunas was telling me that they're not, the VA's not taking anything from outside. You know, we can't get magazines, we can't get newsletters, we can't get anything else in for them to be, books, etc. So, one day it'll end. Okay, Webmaster Public Relations. New members, did you get to us through the website?
Yes.
John, you did? Kim, how did you find out about us?
I don't know.
Okay, good answer, thank you.
I saw a group out at lunch and I thought there must be a local group, and so I
Yeah.
just researched it, and I think I found you through the national.
Okay, well, that's
I
good,
don't
it's on the
know, I'm not
website.
really sure, it was a process, and then you helped tremendously, get us signed up, so.
Not a problem, great, thank you
Bob, I
very
have one
much.
more thing.
Sure.
Also, we track visitors to our site, and when we started the process, we couldn't get anybody to come on it. But since we've been ranked in the Google search pages now, we average between 500 to 1,000 hits per day.
Wow, that's
So
great.
people are starting to see it.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that's all of the reports.
10 cents a hit.
Anybody else have any reports that I omitted? Joel?
Not a report, but does anybody know anything about the website for USSVI? Every time I get on the computer and get it, my computer warns me this is an unsafe site and
Yeah.
It is,
explodes.
it is.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody know anything about it?
Yes, we're going to purchase an annual license to make us, instead of being an HTTP site, to an HTTPS site, which S for secure.
Yeah, but
And-
you're talking about our website.
Our
Yeah,
website.
he's talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake.
No,
That's a license waiver.
Yeah, my mistake.
There's 2 ways you can get in, and realize that it is unsecured. There's no security on this thing whatsoever. And our member, Dave Ferrugia, who's also our district commander, is doing a Zoom meeting with National Bunch today, so that's why he's not here. And that's one of the topics to discuss is the national website. It's been a pain, a thorn in their side for years, and they spent buku thousands of dollars trying to get that thing fixed. It started years ago with a guy, a retired submariner, who built the website.
Yeah.
And his son came on, then that gentleman passed, went on Internal Patrol, and his son tried to take on, and he got only so far, and then it migrated back to National, and then National hired people, and it's just been an absolute desire. So it is an unprotected site. If you go on there, you are at risk. Now, you can get on. There are steps to get on the site, you know, there's two buttons you click on down there, and I forget exactly, I can send you an email
Is
page.
that the only way to get to the National Storekeeper? I packed my Holland cap from Nevada to here and I can't find it. I need a Holland cap.
If you want to go directly, or you can go through our storekeeper, he can order.
Okay, I'll do that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else? Joe?
Oh, it is extremely difficult to get response from high school ROTC facilitators. The one that I have gotten so far is at Gaither High School in Tampa. And I just emailed him this past week, asked him what he was doing for Navy Week. And he told me he had an admiral coming in for a speech to his students. And I asked him for permission to come by and hear what the admiral had to say. On the way over this morning, I got a volunteer to also go with me to high school ROTC units, Captain Fernandez. And
Good.
we're still open for anyone else. Up to 4 people I think we can have starting out anyway.
Okay.
Joel, is this just Gaither or others?
I've got the contact information for Gaither, for Warden, for Riverview, and for Admiral Farragut over here. I have not gotten response back from any of them other than Gaither, and how I got it at Gaither was I went into the office and said, need to talk to your OTC people.
And
So,
is part of your programs that we offer to be guest speakers?
basically what I have in mind, and it's still up for grabs or suggestions, is to go in and talk about submarine service. For instance, whenever I went out on my first patrol, I weighed 130 pounds. 3 months later, whenever I came in off patrol, I weighed 195. I've never been able to eat like that before, and my mom was a good cook, but still, having it on the table was a different story. So,
I think part of what we envision is to be able to go in with our model submarine parked there in the parking lot.
That'd be cool.
And to be able to talk to them and answer questions, but to be able to share some of our experiences. So we're looking for more senior individuals, not older, but more senior individuals who go back to the diesel days and can talk about that. And some of the nuclear guys, and then like Captain Fernandez is going there, he can talk about the schooling, the officer programs, things like that. So if we have enough people, and it'll be a trial and error type process, but we figure out who we need to have with us to be able to answer the questions. Now, Riverview NJRTC unit is doing our color guard. I finally got a response out of their new commander. She didn't even have a profile up yet, I don't think. But I think the Master Sergeant Clifton is going to be there for the memorial service with the cadets. So it might be an opportunity to talk to him and see if we can get an edge in with him, or whoever shows up from the instructor side.
the one facilitator at Gaither that I've talked to also said that they schedule everything a year ahead of time. And he told me that next year he would be able to schedule us in on a couple of dates. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, and I'm going to follow up on it closely.
Okay.
So
Super.
maybe I'll have something better to report in May or June.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now.
Thank you. Good. Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate it.
Can I throw in one associated with that real quick? Is that I'm involved up in my community in West Pasco, Heritage Springs, with the Veterans Club, all services. We have an interaction with Mitchell High School in Trinity area, and we know, and we have their commanding officer come over and has spoken at some of our services. We've offered back, and certainly recently they're going to start opening up, not only for our vets group, but I would certainly now also do the initiative for some vets. And so I'll open that up as well.
Okay.
See that, and I know Wayne's up in that vicinity, lives up that way, et cetera, can interact.
I'll
talk later on it.
That's a pretty good distance, isn't it? For us to take the model submarine?
A little bit, but
I'll pull it with my truck.
whatever, we can take it. We almost don't, and up there, they're pretty aware, they almost don't need that model per se, they're pretty
Okay.
tech-alike, so we do a lot of pictures.
Okay. That's good, appreciate that.
The reason I picked Gaither, and I may have mentioned this in the past, Gaither has the #1 NROTC program in the country.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So I figure if we can get in the door there, we'll be opening some other doors too.
Good opportunity. Okay.
I would like to hear from Mitchell.
Okay. Michael?
I've only been in the Tang base for about 4 months. Could you expound on the memorial that's coming up? I realize that April is 122 years of submarining, and they have a big to-do in San Diego every year, but at a ball. I attended one, and there were over 2,000 submariners and their families at Harbor Island, but I'm not familiar with what's going to go on.
You won't see that volume of
I
people
know.
here. Most all of the bases within the USSVI confines have at least an annual Navy submarine memorial service. And during that service, you have a guest speaker, you have a singer, you have everything we do, and you have towing of the boats, and you do all of the boats, all the wartime boats. We also, during that, will talk about the status of the crew for each individual submarine, and then we do the peacetime boats. So all of that gets done.
Where's it going to be?
This is going to be, it's in the newsletter. The address is off of US 301.
It's a Veterans Memorial Park on US 301, just south of Martin Luther King Jr. It's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
In Tampa.
If you look up Google Hillsborough County Veterans Memorial Park.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about.
If you've seen the fairgrounds and the, it's right
I
there.
don't live far from there.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, it's on the website too.
Okay, anything else on that? Commander's report, we were talking about the memorial service. I think we have pretty well everything set up. One of the concerns I have now is Ed Gowrich, his health. I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to support like he is planned. He normally brings the model submarine over and sets up the coffee, things like that. So the chief of the boat position is gonna be vital for that memorial service. Most everything else is set up. We'd like to, if somebody could volunteer to bring some cookies. We're gonna have a cake, but the cake is gonna be for after the service. But cookies go along with the coffee at the beginning, people show up.
I'll take care of that, Bob.
You are? Okay. We also have an honor guard with 3 weapons, AR-15s. Okay, Bill Jr. is the captain of the honor guard. Bill, his dad, is on the honor guard. And we have, right now, we have Ed Gowrich and John Beebe lined up to be the 3 riflemen. John Beebe, I'm not sure is gonna come up. He lives all the way down south past Northport. Down south past there, and his health is not all that good. And Ed Gowrich. So if the 2 Bills could get with you, anybody who might be interested in becoming a rifleman for that, here goes John's hand. get with those guys so we got a fallback. We probably won't know until the last minute, but we do want to be prepared. Bruce Segovis is going to be our bugler, thank you very much. Getting the model submarine to the memorial service might be a problem if Ed is still incapacitated. So,
I live just up the road from
yeah.
the,
Do you have a key to the unit?
no.
Okay.
Right.
We'll need to make arrangements to get the key from who's got the other key?
Ed?
Huh?
Ed, as far as I know.
Ed's got one, I have one, there's a third key after. Okay, we'll find it. Okay. All right, that's it for my report. Look forward to seeing everybody in April 16th for the memorial service and the picnic and Tang. Any new business, excuse me, any old business? I'm not aware of any old business pending, but anyone think we have old business? Any new business? New business would be anything that would require a motion and a vote. Okay. Now comes the fun part. Good of the order. Joel?
Question, we downsized on our library, is that correct?
Yeah, we're trying to downsize on the library. Were there any other books left in there? No. Okay, that's all we got right now.
Okay. In the future, if we downsize, I'd like to make a suggestion that we turn the books over to high school libraries.
Okay.
The librarian brought him, because he's the district commander, he was bringing them to other bases, because when he goes to the other bases, they see they have, 5, 10 books. So he was gonna bring them to the other USSVI bases in Florida.
Good.
Just wanted to make sure they weren't getting.
No, they're not. They're not. I know that.
Been spread around all over.
Yeah. And we won't try to get them to places like the VA hospitals and all, but as Jerry said, they're not taking anything in. We're not able to do that.
You don't need to know that.
Okay.
You already know.
Good of the order. Anything for good of the order besides our pending sea stories? Okay. John, would you like to do a sea story for us?
Yes, I would.
please?
I'm John Shell, ST1 on USS Guardfish, and I guess our big sea story involves Mike and I were on the Guardfish in '72 during the Paris peace talks when our captain Dave Minton, while on sonar game, we picked up an Echo 2 out of Vlad and followed him around the South China Sea for 28 days. This is on our second patrol after being out for 60 days on into Guam, guarding the Pacific for 8 days, and then went out for another 72 on our second patrol. We followed the submarine commanded by Admiral Brzezinski now, and later at our reunion in San Diego, Captain Dave Minton and Admiral Brzezinski got together. He passed out CDs of the patrol, and now he's put out a book called From the Opposite Sides of the Periscope, The Trail is On, and I guess we're the basis for the hunt for Red October. That was the whole premise there, although there was no secret propulsion mission or whatever. We just trailed them around, make sure there was no funny business going on. When we left lab, there were 3 other submarines in the patrol. They dispersed. We followed this one until we lost contact. Cleared baffles like every hour, and they either do a crazy Ivan or we'd try to stay off of the side. So that was our claim to fame, and we were there. So if you'd like to read about it, it's on Amazon for $18 or Kindle, and Captain Dave is still alive and well, sailing his sailboat up in Olympia, Washington. So
So the admiral you're talking is a Russian admiral?
right, he's now an admiral now, but
Yeah, at the time,
the
right.
book is the story of both of them growing up, going to their respective sub schools, and
Yeah, cool.
in their career, and
Sounds
something
great.
to talk about.
Tell me the name of the book again?
From the Opposite Sides of the Periscope.
Opposite Side of the Periscope.
And it's on, if you go to guardfishtrail.com, it's got the story of our zigzag mission and
All right.
out in South China
Does
Sea.
18 bucks go to you?
No. I believe Captain Dave gets it. I just talked to him last week, and he's really excited about it, and hopefully we'll sell more copies. Just give him the recognition he deserves.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
That was the second trail. We did a similar trail in 1986, 1968. Instead of from the Vilad, we went from the Pet. And we circled Guam a couple times, went over and looked at U.S. fleet operations in Hawaii, and then trailed them all the way back.
That's good.
Yeah, that was 68.
How long was that trip?
110 days. Half the time he was outrunning us, really. We just kept on his base course, and we'd catch up with him, and he'd sprint, and we'd catch up, and he'd sprint. And then all of a sudden, when he was in Hawaii watching U.S. exercises off of Pearl, he sort of skulked around, and we skulked right behind him.
What class was it?
Echo.
Echo.
Another Echo.
Echo, that's
Yeah. And we were, Guardfish was a permit class, 594.
You didn't see any Chinese boats out there at the time?
On our second patrol on Westpac in '68, before we went on patrol, I went to periscope photography school at Fort Island, and we went into the South China Seas, and we skulked, and we saw, and we recorded, and we came back.
You're out there now. Ray, do you feel up to giving us a sea story? Ray Gertman?
Yeah, tell them about the North Pole.
Marine.
Well, my North Pole, boat yeah,
Yeah, it's all right. He's comfortable sitting.
yeah, the Sea Dragon. And we rendezvoused, and it was really fun, and we had a world of fun, and we worked hard too.
We rendezvoused at the North Pole.
Yeah, at the North Pole it was, and one problem that we had was that some big person wanted to get some ice from the
North Pole.
yeah. And so we had to just get somebody, get over and start chipping. So this big man could have a party with that.
North Pole ice.
Yeah, he was on the skate when the Skate and Sea Dragon did a dual surfacing at the North Pole.
That's right, that's exactly right.
Wayne, you were talking about somebody who was going up there and insisted on having, what was it, the EMBT or the EAB? manifest?
Oh, the first commanding officer of the USS Skate was retired as Vice Admiral James Calver. I was the last CO of the Skate, and I had James Calver, who was the first CO, as a guest speaker when we decommissioned the State in Pearl Harbor in September 12th, 1986. Well, Jim Calvert was later on Commandant of the Naval Academy, retired as a Vice Admiral. I had him as a guest speaker. Anyway, before the Skate was the first, the Nautilus was the first submarine to reach the North Pole, but it was underwater. The Skate was the first submarine to surface at the North Pole. And Jim Calvert wrote the book, Surface at the Pole. And before he'd take the Skate under the ice, he insisted that they have an emergency breathing system before they went under the ice. So the Navy had to create and install the EAB system to put on the ship before he'd take it under the ice. And since then, every submarine's had an emergency air breathing system.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. Ray, thank you. Okay, anything else go to the order? Anybody got any sea stories? Okay, John?
I don't got a story, but just a comment. I hope Putin gets everything he deserves.
There you go.
Go, Brandon.
Quickly.
Now comes the fun part, the 50-50 drawing, QVC raffle drawings. $59 for the 50-50.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We have one guy who drew his own number like 3 times.
Really? What is that, the white ticket?
The last 4 digits, 7830.
7830? Yep. There it is. That's mine, right?
That was the deal,
All right.
I know. Like that? Gotta pay for your gas to go back home.
Yeah. Might fill up your tank, depending on what kind of car you have.
For the gas.
Shut up, I thought he said stand up. 3 weeks ago, I had cataract surgery. Last week, on Monday last week, I had droopy eyelids surgery to fix my droopy eyelids.
There you go.
Doesn't look too bad.
Did you pick ours, Tammy?
I don't know.
I hope so. Stay tuned.
Last board numbers, 5, 8, 4, 6.
You girls have it.
Anybody want to buy these for $1? Nobody should.
Nobody already got
So you hear 6 tickets.
gift card, gas card, Home Depot.
I like that sign.
How about how did you do that? There's actually 6. Only 4 were going to be 7.
One more time.
Just thank you for this day. We thank you for your patience. We are your work in progress. Where you send us, we must go. Whether we realize it or not. We do thank you again for this day, for this meeting, for this brotherhood. We pray all these things in your name.
Amen.
Take the vote, bring us up. Thanks, everybody. Go help clean it up before you leave, please.
We're supposed to be in it.
I'm gonna hold one of these.